I need to get better at running race pace. I have a 10k race where I'm attempting to run a sub-40 10k in 10 days. In order to do that, I need to run 10 4-minute kilometers in a row and go a tiny bit faster on that last one. It's Thursday morning. I'm gonna head outside to do a race stimulation sort of thing. It's on my training plan that I have 3 kilometers at race pace. I then get 2 minutes rest, and then it's another 2 kilometers at slightly faster than race pace as well. This session is gonna hurt. It's not gonna be fun. But I think it is important to give myself an opportunity to practice running at speed. This is my journey to a sub-40 10k. I think we're now on episode 17. It's getting longer. I know today is going to be very painful, but I'm trying to have an optimistic attitude. Time to get this out of the way.
2 kilometer warm up is complete, as well as 4 100-meter strides. I didn't give myself that much break in between my strides. I set 20 seconds. I don't know if that's too little because I was quite tired after the strides. Okay, so time for 3 kilometers between a 3:55 and a 4:02 kilometer pace or something. Okay, we should be filming on here. Annoyingly, I'm starting off with a hill. I normally talk through a lot of my run today. I'm not going to talk, I'm going to just focus, and after some great suggestions, I'm going to do voiceover. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, here we go.
Let the voiceover begin. I'm going to try and do this whole thing in one take. As you can tell, I started off with a bit of a hill. It took me a while to find pace, but I did get there in the end. Unfortunately, the time of this run was right around the school run, so a lot of it I am just weaving in and around families. I did eventually find my pace, however, my heart rate did start to go up quite a lot. Sometimes it happens where if you start off fast, your heart rate just skyrockets, as you can tell by mine hitting 190 this early on. I'm just at about pace, but I don't really want my heart rate to be that high in a tempo run, so I could kind of tell whilst I was doing it that I didn't feel too great. I was fast, but it didn't feel easy whatsoever. My heart rate was still sitting very high, my pace was slowing down. Just generally, I was not having a fun time at all. As you can tell, I'm looking around, I'm pleading for help. There's another hill here. Oh god. I'm filming this well after I've ran, and I'm remembering how much this hurt. I'm at a 4:10 pace, where I need to be at around a 3:59, so this wasn't great. You can hear my discomfort very clearly in this section of the run. Not even that graffiti of weird looking ET could make this any easier. Yeah, pace was slowing down a lot. More weird noises coming from my body. Heart rate was high, pace was slowing down. I was just generally having a pretty horrible time and did not want to be doing this run anymore. Oh, 4:30. That is not what you want when you're trying to go sub 4. Oh, and heart rate is back up into 183. Well done, Ollie. Well done. Fortunately, I did speed up a bit. The ground got a bit more flat. My heart rate became slightly more stable. I knew I still had quite a lot of distance left in front of me. Oh, I'm making these weird noises again. Why am I breathing so loud? My heart rate is now actually not too bad, but still, I'm too slow. I'm in a lot of pain. I'm desperately awaiting this to be over. Yeah, I knew when I was running this that I wasn't going to be anywhere near to the time that I had set out for myself. And already I was being instilled with fear for the incoming race the following week.
I'm worried. Just finished the first 3 kilometers in 12 minutes and 20 seconds. I needed to be around the 12-minute mark, so I was 20 seconds too slow. I know there was the added downside of going that way I was going uphill to now going back. I'll be going downhill. My shoes aren't the best for speed work, but I don't like to use that as an excuse. That was so hard, and I wasn't nearly fast enough. Before I get too depressed, I'm gonna do these next 2 kilometers. Maybe I can bring it back and put myself in a better mood. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 2 kilometers. Let's see if we can do this any better. This one actually needs to be faster as well. Oh.
Time for some more voiceover. Let's see if I can do this one in one take. Yeah, so I started off trying to get that 3:55 kilometer pace that I was aiming for. I actually started off a tiny bit too fast. I think because I'd been used to pushing myself for that previous 3 kilometers after the 2 minutes recovery. I was just in it. I was ready to go. I found the pace I needed to be at. My heart rate seemed okay. I could feel that I was going downhill, and it felt a lot easier to get to speed. It was still hard, it was still painful, but reaching pace felt substantially easier than coming the opposite way. It is really bizarre that some days you can just get to these top speeds and it feels fine, and other days it is the most painful thing in the world. Here I am nearly running into a dog. Oh, what did you do that for, Ollie? Get back into it, find the composure, sitting nicely on that 3:50 pace. I don't know why I say sitting nicely. Nothing about this felt like I was sitting. It was horrible. It was not fun. I would not recommend doing this to anyone. I wouldn't wish it upon my worst enemy, actually. This was horrible. Yes, heart rate seemed okay. I was hitting the pace. This was not a nice way to spend a Thursday morning. I'm glad now that future me, who is filming this, has done this. I don't have to worry about this anymore. Oh, here I am going down this hill. It was so good coming down it and not having to go up. Although, towards the end, I did begin to slow a bit. Holding that pace, it just seemed hard. I knew I was coming to an end, and because I'd gone faster in the first 2/3 of this 2 kilometers, I could afford to be a little bit slower towards the end.
Oh. Okay, the second part of the run is done. 2 kilometers. Fortunately, both of them were sub 4 minutes. I was considerably faster. It was still basically just as painful. There was some downhill that helped out a lot.
I've literally been home for a minute and a half, and I was just like, I want to get on my camera, talk about how that was. That was weird. Why did that hurt so bad? Why was I not fast enough for the start? How on earth am I meant to do 10 kilometers at that pace on a course I've never ran before? I am just doubting myself right now. I'm gonna pick up my camera a bit later and reflect once I've given myself time to cool down, have some food, have a shower, maybe have a day to think about it, because I don't want to be overthinking everything and being in a bad mood. I did 3 out of the 5 kilometers well. I pushed harder than I wanted to, but I did them well. I'm not going to overthink it. It doesn't matter. Training sessions, they're not meant to all go great. It doesn't reflect how you are as a runner. I'm going to go and eat some yogurt. Hello, it's been a while. It is now 1:10 on Saturday afternoon. It's been over 2 days since my brutal tempo session. Since then, I took a rest day. That was really nice. This morning, I had an easy run and some light strength and conditioning. It took me a while to change my attitude into something more positive. I'm sure on Sunday, which is now 8 days away, when I do my first sub-40 10k attempt at the race, I will have prepped the whole week. I will have tapered, I would have eaten properly, I would have carb loaded, got a good amount of sleep, warmed up correctly, I'd have adrenaline, all of these factors. Of course, I'm gonna perform better on race day. Well, I hope, touch wood. It doesn't matter if that session on Thursday was hard. Move on, don't think about it anymore, just focus on the training, one day at a time. Now, I quickly want to say thank you to anyone who has donated to my Just Giving page for Francis House Children's Hospice. It absolutely blows my mind when I get an email saying, so-and-so has just donated £25
to the charity. Out of all the things I've done on YouTube, every time I see one of those, I get really happy. That's everything from me. Thank you very much for watching this video and keeping up with my journey to a sub 40 10K. If you haven't subscribed, but you enjoy what I make, if you click on it, I really, really do appreciate it. Next week is all about my taper, so that'll be an interesting journey in my training. Thank you very much, and I'll see you soon. Bye.